What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if the new Batman game, whether it be Arkham, whether it just be Batman, if its release will line up with the Batman movie, the 2021 movie. Now, this is something that I've feared talking about for the longest time, and one of the main reasons is because of the release date of the Batman movie. And I've always said that if this game comes out when the Batman movie releases, that's not a good sign at all, because the movie releases on June 25th, 2021, okay? So if the game is anywhere near close to that, that means that the game has been pushed to 2021 in general, right? Another year of waiting, whether it even be just a couple months. They don't have to line up. I know people have always gone through that route that, like, hey, maybe there is that larger plan. I really don't think there is. I really don't, especially because games can have such huge problems. That's always the thing I go to. So I guess I'll start off by kind of being the negative person in regards to if you're expecting this game to release with the movie. I don't want that. I mean, that is good for like synergy in general, but in terms of like, I want the game in 2020, not wait another 6-7 months to get in 2021. So if you're from that perspective, here's what I'll say. One good example is the Harry Potter game. Now, that is a good example and also a bad example because that game doesn't even exist, possibly, right? We don't know if that game is actually being worked on or not. But one of the things people were throwing out with that is maybe they could line it up with Fantastic Beasts 3. Well, the problem with that is movies and games, they can change. Now, movies are a little bit more set in stone, right? If you do a release date for a movie, if you delay it, or even if you move it a couple days, it's a big deal. In fact, I believe a movie, I don't actually even remember what movie, but there's a movie releasing this year, either in June or July, that was moved. I think maybe it was like, I think it's Top Gun, actually, the sequel. I believe that movie was moved 2 days earlier, and that was like a news story because movies, for the most part, do not move. The other huge example is James Bond. Now, I don't want to say the reason why because YouTube has a problem with that phrase. Don't put in the comments either. Just warning you there. But No Time to Die, the James Bond film, was delayed 7 months due to the thing that's around the world right now, and that is that is like a bombshell kind of thing because that just does not happen. So movies are more set in stone for sure, but they can move. James Bond, even the Fantastic Beasts 3 actually is a good example. That movie was moved. That movie was delayed a full year. And then you look at games. Games are way more, they're just all over the place. Games can be, I guess very rarely games are moved ahead of when they say they're going to release. Normally it's either they're going to release when they release or they're going to be pushed off. And then even when you announce a game, you're still not going to get, you see, when you announce a movie industry is you announce the movie, you know it's happening, and they give a release date. For the most part, they say at least like the year. For games, it's very much up in the air. BioShock is a good example. If BioShock was a movie and they announced the BioShock, you know how they announced BioShock 4, the next BioShock game, they would have set a release date with that. It would have been 2.5 years out, but they would have done it because that's just how the movie industry works. Games, they don't. Games, they say, hey, it's happening, but we're not going to talk about it. So what I'm basically saying is, the people that'll say that the plan from the beginning is to release these two things around the same time, that is just not true. That is just absolute. If you ever hear that, in fact, and this is what's going to upset me, and people are going to get upset because I'm calling people out. I'm not going to call anybody in particular out because nobody's done it yet, but I'm going to warn you guys, and I've liked to warn you guys on things in the past, and I have been correct on these warnings, so heed my warning here. What's going to happen is if this game does get pushed close to the Batman movie, you're gonna hear insiders talk about how this was the plan, how they wanted this. I guarantee you this will happen because it's happened before. I mean, not in this exact example, but these kind of things have happened before where I can see things that people are going to say about something specific and then they actually do it because there's, I guess, a leaker. You could say it's a cop-out thing because there is a leaker for everything, right? Like somebody is going to say that and then I'll be proven right. But honestly, that is going to be a story. But again, I'm going to tell you that's not true. The movie could be moved. For all we know, that thing that's around the world right now, it could get so much worse. It could get even worse. And then so many things are late. We do not know. Also, you got to think about the big. Who cares about the movie? The movie seems like it's on the right track. Let's talk about the game. The game has no idea what it's doing. And I mean, in all seriousness, this game has been, firstly, a long time coming, but secondly, they've canceled multiple games, and you can delay it. In fact, I guarantee you, again, this game has been delayed. It had been delayed probably multiple times in their studio. So you can't, like, the game never had a set release. It's not like they said, okay, we're going to make this game happen for the summer of 2021. Now, it does sound good, right? Did I say June 25th? June 25th is when Arkham Knight came out. I believe that day exactly. So it's not like late June doesn't work. We even see Ghost of Tsushima. Its release date is June 26th. The Crash games, the Crash Insane Trilogy, Crash Team Racing, those games are late June. I mean, late June 100% works with games. So definitely the date would work. I mean, if you did both these on the same day, I don't think it wouldn't work. I think it would be a pretty solid success. But you can't tell me, nobody in the comments, and it maybe isn't a problem now because there is so much uncertainty and nobody really knows anything about this game. But when we get closer, nobody is going to tell me. I will address it in another video. Nobody can tell me that this was the plan from the very beginning because they've had multiple games. For all we know, they wanted a game to release in like 2016. In fact, I guarantee you they wanted a game to release in 2016 or 2017 because that was 3 to 4 years after Arkham Origins. They would have started the Suicide Squad game. That game would have came out. All that kind of stuff would have happened, right? Then the Wonder Woman game, and then if they did the Damian Wayne game, that game would have released earlier than right now. So what I'm basically saying, this entire video is, will it line up? Possibly. It's possible that if the game continues to get delayed, and I think this is what you need to take home with you if you guys are at work or at school, or if you're at home, this is what you can stay at home with yourself right now, is yes, the game can release, and it can line up with this movie. I wouldn't be, if you told me that'll happen, I wouldn't be all that surprised. I truly wouldn't, because yes, I want it in the fall. There was that major leak about a month ago that said, soft reboot in the fall, all that kind of stuff. That's great. I want that. I'm sticking with that until that gets pushed. That's why I'm calling these the titles of all these things are Batman Arkham 2020. I think the year is important to say. So I'm going to keep that until past E3 if the game's not shown, or if they just say if they announce and they say this is a 2021 thing, I'll keep it at 2020. So I want it in 2020. But again, if you said, Alex, I traveled to the future and the game got delayed again, it was supposed to come out in the fall, but now it's coming out in April of 2021, I'd say, you know what? I feel like I could have told you the same thing and I didn't have to go through time to tell you that. So you know what I mean? Like I'm fine with that. But don't let anybody tell you that the reason that the game is coming out in April of 2021 or May or June or even February or March, whatever, don't let them tell you that it's because of the movie, that they're lining it up with the movie, because no. There may be a connection. I think the more we see pictures of what's going on with this movie is like, yeah, and we talked about this a few days ago. Yeah, the suit looks absolutely amazing. It looks very much like Arkham. Maybe it'll lead into an Arkham Asylum kind of thing. I'd love that. So there is some, again, like connectiveness with these two things, but it's not connected in a way where like the game needs to come out to support. It's not like SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, right? That remaster or the rehydrated. It's not like that where it's like there were some rumors that game would come out the same day. There's other things that say like summer of 2020. Like it's gonna help. Like the game and movie are gonna help like push SpongeBob. I know a weird example, but like it's not that. Basically, is what I'm saying. This Batman video game could have come out 2 years ago during the worst time to be a Batman fan, right? It could have come out the same year, 2017. Could have come out Batman versus Superman year, and it would have been fine. It honestly would have been. It doesn't matter the movie's success to the games because they're too separate. I feel like they are getting closer, but they are still way too separate of entities, which I like. I actually like that about it. They're so separate that they're not going to hurt each other. If the game sucks, it's not going to hurt the movie. And if the movie sucks, it's not going to hurt the game because they are separate enough. And because they're just being worked on by completely different people, they're 4 different people in general. I mean, one you watch, one you play. Yes, there's going to be tons of crossover. I'm not saying that's not true. But you know what I mean? It's so separate that they don't hurt each other. And because of that, also, you could make the argument that would they help each other? I mean, yeah, I guess there'd be a lot of talk about Batman going on around the same time, but like, do they take away from each other? Is one more popular than the other? If one is bad, then you have the other one happening right around the same time, and then does that negatively hurt that? Like, does it hurt that other whatever? So if the game sucks and the movie releases 2 weeks later, are people less hesitant? Are people more hesitant to go to the movie? I mean, yeah, you could just say, well, Alex, you just said they're too separate, but if you have them right next to each other and the talk is all about both of them, and then all of a sudden one falters or one is really good, And I'm only asking a question. I don't know. Does that affect the other one? And these are just all things that I think at the end of the day, I mean, these are just things that we can talk about because they're fun to talk about. But at the end of the day, again, the thing to drive home with, again, if you're driving, keep your eyes on the road. But this is something that you need to take away from this is it doesn't matter. The game will not rely on this movie. So if the game gets delayed and it does come out in 2021, we will riot. I'm sure people will riot. People will be upset. We have every reason and every right to be upset. But then afterwards, when they say, well, and when people come out and say, well, it was always their plan to kind of release it close to this Batman, that is just absolutely garbage, and that's not true. That's absolutely not true because this game, firstly, is like attempt number 4 or 5 at Warner Bros. Montreal making a video game, and so they don't care when the game. I'm sure if the game was done, it would release tomorrow. If the game was finished, it was QA tested, all that kind of stuff, the game would release tomorrow. They don't care. It's like, get this game out because you've been things like that, and specifically because of that, I would say, because they've been trying to do this for so long. And because they didn't start it up at the same time like the movie got started up, and also there's just different development times. I could keep going on and on of why this is not going to happen, but I think that's something very important that you guys need to make sure you remember going forward. Again, you could be saying, I'm sure I'll get dislikes, I'm sure people will say, what does it matter, or whatever the haters are going to say, right? But the thing is, firstly, they probably didn't make it far enough to hear that part, and they also didn't make it this far, is again, it may not be a big of a deal now, but I'm telling you, if this happens in the future, it will become something, and then I'll address it, and I'll say, I told you so, and then people will say, you never said that, or you always go back on, or whatever they'll say, because they didn't, fully watch this or whatever. So I think that's all I wanted to say about this topic. Guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think this game will line up with the movie's release date? And again, if so, do you think they planned it from the beginning? Do you think it was just kind of a coincidence? A coincidence is the word. That's what it would be. But let me know in the comments below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And thank you, as always, for watching. You guys truly, truly rock. New Batman videos every couple days, every 2-3 days. We'll cover any news on the game, any news on the movie as well. So make sure you guys are staying tuned to this channel so you guys know when those videos release. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.